In the tapestry of life, where every thread holds a story, America in Black and White emerges as a haven for the voices echoing through the heart of our communities. In this podcast, we wade through the rivers of our collective experiences, celebrating the vibrant hues of change brought forth by the whispers of hope and the roars of action. It's more than just a conversation. It's a journey into the heart of our society, illuminated by the light of those daring to dream and do. Join us, and let your voice be the melody that guides us toward a dawn where every color finds its place in the masterpiece of our shared destiny. Together, let's paint a future brimming with the positives that dwell in our minds and the actions that shape our world.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of America in Black and White. You know, I've come to believe that purpose is never an accident, that the men and women who rise, not just above poverty, not just above circumstance, but above the very gravitational pull of what the world has decided they should be. Those men and women were held by something the naked eye cannot always see. They were held by faith, by sacrifice, by the quiet, stubborn, absolutely relentless prayers of someone who loved them before they could even understand what love required. Tonight, we're talking about that kind of man. But before we get there, I want you to think for a moment about what it means to grow up in an urban neighborhood in America. It is not a one-dimensional story that evening news tries to sell you. It is a place where people love deeply and grieve hard, where front porches hold community councils and kitchens hold the most sacred conversation of a life. It is a place where brilliance is everywhere, in the way people move, in the music they make, in the way they raise their children with very little and somehow give them everything. Cleveland, Ohio knows this story. Cleveland has produced genius. Cleveland has raised warriors, and Cleveland, Ohio has raised our guest tonight. City about the particular texture of survival and triumph that Northeast Ohio places in the souls of its people that you cannot fully explain. You can only witness it, and when you witness it, you recognize it immediately. A certain groundness, a certain refusal to be diminished, a certain insistence on showing up fully in every room you enter. That is the Cleveland that shaped Dr. Anthony H. Brown, and the prayers of his mother and his grandmother are the reasons he was listening when Cleveland was teaching. What I want you to know about our guest tonight is this. He is not a man who stumbled into greatness. He is a man who was called towards it, tested by the journey, and refined by every single step. He stood on the stage of Caramu House Theater, one of the most historic African-American cultural institutions this country has ever produced, and he poured himself out in service of stories that had to be told. He stood in front of 1.4 million homes as a television host on Another Look, not to be seen, but to make people feel seen. He sat down and wrote a book, Inspire Me Moments, Living Out Loud with No Regrets, that has traveled across this nation and across international borders, finding its way into the hands of people who needed it exactly when they needed it. He built a podcast in his living room during a global pandemic and raised over $180,000 for HBCU awareness. And then he created the HBCU Man Cave, a space where Black men could fully be honest, fully present, and fully themselves. That is not a resume. That is a mission, and it is exactly the kind of mission that belongs on America in Black and White. Because this show, everything we do here, is built on the belief that Black stories deserve the full frame, not the highlight reel, not the tragedy reel, but the full, complicated, beautiful, textured truth of Black life in America. The faith and the doubt, the triumph and the grief, the art and the advocacy, the love and the work. And tonight, we have a man in our presence whose life is all of those things at once. Dr. Anthony H. Brown, author, performer, television host, HBCU champion, community architect, and one of the most genuine human beings I have had the honor of knowing. Welcome to America in Black and White tonight. We are living out loud together. Let's get into it and let's welcome Dr. Anthony H. Brown to the show.
Oh my gosh, wait a minute, where am I? What's happening?
I don't see you, Dr. Oh, Dr. Brown, your camera's off.
Oh no, here we go. Wait a minute. Bam! I had to come in hot for you real quick. That's how you make an entrance.
How are you this evening, sir?
Listen, I am absolutely amazing. I really am. I
Well,
won't look like that.
Well, welcome to the show. And is there anything you'd like to say to the audience before we get into the show?
You know what? Hey, audience. I hope all is well. Let's get into it. Let's get into some of this conversation today.
So what I like to do is first I like to start with giving people the opportunity to get to know a little bit more about you as we delve into this wonderful journey of yours.
Okay.
So can you take us back to the beginning, the neighborhood, the block, the world you grew up in? What did it look, sound, and feel like? And what do you want people to understand about where you came from that they might not assume?
Okay, now see, listen. The neighborhood. So, oh wow. Like many of my classmates, counterparts, people who look like us. I was not born with the silver spoon in my mouth. Okay, and we was from the neighborhood. But I'm thankful I had a mother and a grandmother who were resilient enough to be like, no, we got to do something better. And we were able to move from out of the neighborhood and into a little bit more of a more what we think of as a safer, smaller suburban community outside of Cleveland. Again, not saying that we moved up, we just moved over. So we were not the Jeffersons. But a little bit better than where we were, so we might have been off now I ain't gonna say Skid Row, but we were in that, it was a rough part of town where my mother and grandmother was at, and so we were able to thankfully get out of that space, and and actually I'm thankful. I've been in my childhood home. Here I am, I'm 56 years old, and I still live in my childhood home.
Wow. So, what was the one thing about that environment that surprised outsiders most?
The neighborhood I came from, or where I am now?
No, the neighborhood you came from.
It just didn't. I don't know if my mother and my grandmother saw it. It was a place that was going to flourish. It was a place that was going to fully embrace a man of color and to really push where, as opposed to just going through status quo and this is all we got and this is the woe is me. My mother wanted something better. And so she's like, in order to do something better, to want something better, you got to do something better. And so she worked hard and she got me out of there. My dad was around, but just like the songwriter said, Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Well, I have a comment here. You can respond to these if you like. This is Carol. I put her on the screen, and she says "Black Magic."
I don't know what that means, but come on, yes, it is. We're gonna live in all this, in the magic that is black. And it is what it is, and Yeah. I can do magic. Hey,
Um,
we're gonna have a good time tonight. Hey.
so we say your mother and your grandmother are central figures in your story. Describe them to us, not just who they were to you, but who they were as women. What made them extraordinary?
Wow. Whew. My mom and my grandmother they were they were my everything. They were my life, my breath, the reason I got up every morning. They were matriarchs in family. My grandmother, it was 12 of my grandmother siblings, and I think she and my grandmother herself had 6 kids. But my grandmother was one that she didn't have a formal education. I think she got as far as maybe seventh, eighth grade, maybe. But she wanted to make sure that her kids and as many of her grandkids as possible could at least finish high school. And then at some point, somebody needs to go to college. And so I was that one. I was the first grandchild to finish school. We had a couple who attempted and didn't finish, but I was the first to finish. I was determined to do that. Because sometimes when you go to school, sometimes you're not just going for you're going for mom and them, the whole 9 yards. You're going to school for everybody. Yep.
So, can you share a specific moment with one of them that you carry with you to this day?
Oh, listen. Listen. My mama is with me every step of the way. I have a tattoo on my back that reminds me, and it's actually a tattoo of both my mom's birthday, my father's birthday, and my son's birthday. And I refer to them as the 3 people who have my back. So she's with me every day, all day. It's just part of who I am. How I think about how I interact with people, how I love, how I support, all that is because of my mother.
So, what is a moment that you can share that you and your mother had that you carry with you today?
Listen, so my mother. Okay, I'm gonna give a funny one right now. So I'm gonna give a funny one. So now, mind you, my mother was the fashionista. I would say my mother was. Now, mind you, we didn't have it all together. People thought we had people thought we had moved up. We didn't. Even though I was talking to my cousins just recently, and we thought you was the rich one in the family. Like I was not. But it was funny. Now, my mother was a dynasty soap opera. I'm taking you back. For those who know, and Dynasty back in the day. Now, Charles, I know you know about some Dynasty.
Yes, most definitely. There's nothing like Dominique and Crystal.
That part right there. So my mother was like a Dominique Devereaux.
Okay.
Sharp. Pristine, well put together. When I tell you, my mother and my aunt would go to the mall in a jogging suit and a full-length fur coat.
Oh no, stop the madness.
That was my fashion sense right there.
Oh wow.
And I remember that moment. So now I'm like, I don't come out the house half-stepping, even if I got to take the garbage out, or because somebody might see me.
Right.
So, but that was a moment that my mother always reminded me, like, you not so much worried about what other people think of you, but how do you think of yourself?
Right.
And how do you want to be portrayed, and what makes you feel good? And so for her, putting on that jogging suit with that fur coat, that made her feel good. Up until my mother's last days, she was always about having her hair done, nails done. Her room had to be a certain way. She had to have her clothes in her closet in a certain pattern. And I'm like, girl, if you don't get somewhere to sit
down. So you've spoken about the power of prayer in shaping your path. What did prayer look like in your household growing up? Was it something only that you witnessed, participated in, or something you came to understand only later?
All the above. Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, I was drugged. Now, listen, truth, straight, no chaser, drugged. And you like, what does he mean? Listen, Charles, when I was drugged by my mother and my grandmother. I was drugged to Sunday school, drugged to Bible study. I was drugged to choir rehearsal. I was drugged to usher board meeting. I was drugged to BTU. I was drugged every time that church doors open.
I think that's one of those things that's big in our community in general, because I tell you, I remember the day going to church 7 days a week.
Oh, I had to. So it was instilled in me. So, you know, when the songwriter said, don't forget the family prayer. Oh, come on, somebody.
Yes. So when did you first feel that those prayers were actually working in your life?
I think it had its ebbs and flows. I think the power of prayer was always constant. I don't know if I always recognized it until maybe after the fact when you were in trouble and be like, or you might have realized the danger seen or unseen, and you like, oh my gosh. It was like, you think about like, had it not been, or you think about, Lord, forgive me. And, you know, and just that that mistake, that it could have been worse.
Right.
You know, oh, come on, somebody. It could have been me. It should have been me.
Right.
Had it not been for the blood. So I think that there were moments where I don't always realize that, oh, that was that prayer. Not whether it was from mom and them, it was a prayer that the pastor gave. It was the prayer that, you know, maybe just a little, Lord, forgive me. But it's the fact that there were some days where I didn't even realize the power and the impact that it had. Until sometimes you go back and you sit and reflect, like, oh, even just this morning, I was running late to work, and I got at this one light, and there was a car in front of me, and I was tempted to just going around that car and just speed on past and go about my business, right?
Right.
And I said, Lord, maybe I don't need to be, maybe I should just take my time today. Sure enough, I waited till the light turned green, the car went on through, and I went on through. On the opposite side of the light was the police.
Oh, wow.
Now, mind you, I normally run that light. I ain't even gonna hold you. I normally run that light. Right. But today, I said, no, you know what? It is what it is. I'm late. Lord, I ain't gonna make it on time. If I'm late, I'm out just gonna be late and stop and give me a cup of coffee and mind my business.
So, you know, you watch peers around you go in very different directions. You did not have to go far to see the pitfalls. What, in your honest recollection, kept you from taking a different road? Was it a decision, a relationship, or something more spiritual?
I think I was just scared to go to hell. Down for real. I think it was just the whole thing of just going to all of those Sunday school classes and Bible study and Baptist training unit. I didn't want to go to hell. And I was scared that if I make a mistake, I make one mistake, I'm going damnation, and I didn't want to do it. So I'm like, I'm just going to just try to do my best to stay on the straight and narrow as much as now. I ain't going to say I was the smartest of the bunch now. I ain't going to say that part. But as far as some morals and values, I'm going to stay on the straight and narrow as much as I can.
So I want to say hello to all of our guests that are joining us tonight. Thank you all for joining us. And you know, we're glad that you guys are here, and I want to welcome you to put your questions and comments in the chat. Again, here's another comment for you.
I see the black magic again. I don't know what it means, but I'm here for it.
Yep, she's black magic. And so can you tell us, is there a specific person or moment that represents a turning point, a fork in the road you clearly remember?
Well, see, I would say there's probably multiple forks in the road. I don't even know where we could even. I don't know if that might be a fork in the road in high school. It might be a fork in the road when I was in college. It might have been a fork in the road during my marriage or my divorce. It might have been a fork in the road when I was going through just life. So, Charles, there's so many forks in the road. So I'm gonna give you. So I'm gonna go back to high school, right? I use this first one, and there may be some others. And actually, I talk about him in my book. Actually, his name is Hal Patillo. He was not Hal Patillo. That's Charles. Hal Johnson. He was he was my social studies history teacher, and this man had the audacity, the nerve, the unmitigated gall to tell my mother during a parent-teacher conference, "Well, Miss Brown, you have a wonderful, amazing, energetic, talented son. I wish he could use the same creativity and skills that he uses in theater in history class. If he can learn every dance routine, every song, every line from the play, because at that time we were doing The Wiz. If he can do all that, he can learn this history." I was so pissed off at Mr. Hal Johnson. Like, who the hell do you think you are going to tell my mama what I can and can't do? I don't want to do this history. I didn't want to do it.
I understand.
But he made so much sense. At the time, I didn't understand it. I couldn't see it. I wasn't receiving it. But he made so much sense. When I finally got to undergrad, when I got to Bethune-Cookman, I was writing about, we was in one of those English classes, I had to write about a teacher. I ended up writing about him.
Wow.
About how he made an impact on me and during that time in high school. And so I ended up coming back to my high school years later after I had finished undergrad school, right? And I ended up working at my high school.
Right.
And so he became one of my colleagues.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so then so he was also, Mr. Johnson was also like our student council advisor for like forever and a day. And when I came back, he kind of took me under his wing and he groomed me. He showed me all of the things, woo-de-woo. And then he ended up passing the torch to me. So I served as student council advisor for a number of years, all thanks to the man who challenged me in, learning transferable skills. If you can learn how to do it over there, then you can bring those same skills over here.
Here's another great comment for you here in the chat. Loving the energy, outstanding guest.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I'm TV360, add me at 5. Thank you so much for watching and listening and then just being part of the conversation.
At what age did you first feel that you had a gift? Something inside you that was meant to be shared with the world. What was that discovery like?
When I woke up, when I arrived here. What? What's so funny? I'm for real.
This is what some people are just born to be, that energy, that showstopper, that natural individual. That is just you. That is just you, and that's what shines, and that's what makes the world go round.
Yeah, when I got here. Again, like I said, I'm 56. I just concluded my birth month. I don't just do a birthday. Do a birth month. Okay. So it was actually, my birthday is actually May 2nd, but I celebrate all month long. And first of all, I always give honor to my mom. I shout her out on my birthday. I always show her love first because I just showed up for any child. We just show up. It was the mama who did all the work. So I actually pay homage to her. I will always do something for her. As I got older, I would always look for my mother first before I would do anything for me. Even this year, I mean, I went to the cemetery, and I went down and I laid flowers and cleaned up the gravesite and things of that nature. Just kind of had a moment, because again, had it not been for her, for you providing me with the first eviction notice, she said, "Get out."
It's time, right?
So we always show love to her, but then like I said, I celebrate almost love. But I think I've just been that character ever since I was born. And so from my earliest days, I can remember from maybe preschool, kindergarten, I was always in the musicals, I was in the church plays, I was in the choir, I was doing something. Yes.
So, that special something that you had inside you, did the adults around you see it before you did?
Yeah, it was just like one of them episodes when you be like, "Oh, come in here and sing your mama's favorite song with all the family members." You got to do a little dance, do a little jig. You had to be the one. Like I had to always be on. Like just, yeah.
So you've always been a performer.
Yeah.
Cleveland, Ohio is not just a setting in your story. It feels like a character in it. So, what did Cleveland specifically give you, teach you, or demand of you in your formative years?
It provided me with a platform, a stage, an opportunity, be it from my teachers pushing me, be it the church embracing me and giving me that opportunity to do something, whether it was the community itself elevating me and allowing me to go, to support me when I went to college, for even embracing me and welcoming me back home when I came back from college. And then, just every lesson I've ever learned, good or bad, that's what Cleveland has given me.
So, can you tell us, how do you feel about the city today? And how does your work connect back to it?
Oh, I love the city. Oh, I'm here for it. I'm 10 toes down. I'm here for it all day long. I live and breathe the community in which I serve because, it's been good to me. And now even in my current walk of life, as an advocate for family and community engagement, again, I work for the Cleveland Metropolitan School District. I get to be able to interact and connect with the community all day, every day, providing opportunities and resources or making those connections to help families be able to help their scholars to the best of their ability. And whatever connections that may be. Like I had a couple companies call today, like, "Hey, we want to do something where we want to just be able to donate some school supplies and some book bags." And I was like, "Yes, and they was like, "We've been trying to get to somebody. We don't worry about who you've been trying to get to." I answered the phone today. It's a yes, and. So what do we need to do to make this happen? Thanks. Who I need to get, just tell me where I got to come pick it up. Or do I need to have you give it, or you want a place where you can go drop it off at? As a matter of fact, I'm doing some community engagement activities. Can I invite you to be a part of it? Right. It's a yes and.
Oh wow, that's wonderful. So I'm sure that the people in the community more than enjoy that and appreciate that because it's something that really that it's a benefactor for them, but it's a helping resource.
Matter of fact, I got a call today from the mayor's office. Because they want to know if we can, we have a couple schools, as we come back, because Cleveland, like a lot of school districts across the country, we were affected by, a lot of the funding cuts and, and education reform and changes. So we had to do some changes here. We had to right size the ship. So we had to downsize some of our buildings. We had to merge. We had to consolidate some programming. We even had to lose a few teachers and educators in the process. And so as we think about we going into the new school year, the mayor's office called and said, "Well, what if we do something again to embrace this community?" We have schools having to merge. What if we did something extra special for these schools? So when school opens in the fall, we do some type of welcoming, clapping, celebration to again welcome the new students, the transfer students into the building, and things of that. And And again, it was a yes and.
Mhm.
Yep. How do you want to navigate this? And, I got a couple schools in mind. I know we need to target. I got, different fraternities, sororities, different community organizations. I have alumni associations. We have the mayor's office. We have so many different organizations that who would be willing just to be on the sidelines, on the sidewalks, in the parking lot, just to clap people in the first day of school, whether it's elementary school, middle school, or high school, to say welcome.
Wow.
Especially for those who are coming into a brand new space.
Right. Wow. So growing up, what did purpose feel like before you had the word of it, the word for it? What was pulling at you that you could not yet name?
I would say, I think it was more. I think what was pulling at me was the act of empowerment or impact. I don't know if I was ready to embrace that yet.
Okay.
Or influence. Yeah, power, impact, empowerment, impact. I don't know if I fully understood that then. But today,
Mhm.
I'm in a place where if not you, then who?
Right.
Ain't that what they say?
That's what they say.
If not now, then when?
So let's move over and let's talk a little bit about your work in the performing arts and television. So can you tell us, when did performing arts first hit you? Not as something you admired from a distance, but as something you knew was yours. What was the moment, the production, or the experience that cracked you open?
Oh my gosh, Charles, I'm thinking about, there are so many memories that come to mind. Kindergarten, being, when I was in elementary school, we used to do the school-wide musical. And every year from kindergarten, I was always in the production of doing something. But I want to say that I had to be maybe fourth or fifth grade. My mother took me to my first Broadway musical. I think, again, it was The Wiz that was on tour. So I remember when Stephanie Mills, I'm going back.
Okay.
Okay.
Stephanie Mills.
Yeah, I'm going back. I can remember that. I remember that musical vividly. And I was like, I want to do that.
So, what was it about that actually captivated you and drew you in?
The music, the color, the engagement, the people who look like me. And I'm like, don't get me wrong, you would see The Wizard of Oz with Judy Garland on TV, or you would see, other. But when I saw The Wiz, and it was people who looked like me, I said, I could do that. So my mother got me in acting classes, and I started taking theater and choir in high school, junior high and high school. And, I was fortunate because I had the same music teacher from like 7th grade to 12th grade. I had the same drama teacher from 7th grade to 12th grade. So that kind of really helped me cultivate that. Now, I didn't pursue it. I mean, I'm still in it, right? But then my son caught the bug.
Okay.
I call him, my sequel. He caught the bug and took it a step further. I always tell him, don't be like me, be better than me.
Right.
And so now my son is the playwright, professional actor, went to school, got a master's degree from Yale, and now living in New York.
Right.
And so now I'm his biggest cheerleader.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up. I'm so proud of you. But can you tell us, like, during that time, and you going through performing arts, what were the things that these producers would say to you that was so forthright that it made you feel that much more comfortable in doing that craft?
I'm not gonna tell you that every producer and director was that nice, and there was some cutthroats. There was some. Listen, I even had a teacher. I'm gonna be honest with you. And I don't say this about all teachers, but I had a teacher who told me I did not have the look for television or the voice for radio.
Oh, oh wow, that's cruel.
Yeah. So at some point, and there were some other pitfalls very similar to that kind of storyline that I had to use as my motivation to kind of use it as my driving point. Like, okay, I'm gonna have to prove you wrong. I'm gonna have to prove you wrong.
Well, I'll tell you, Dr. Brown, they can't. There's nothing that can stop that big personality you got. There ain't nothing that can stop that. That's their mistake.
Yes.
You taught speech and drama.
Yes. Then I came, and after all that, I came back to my high school, and I taught speech and drama.
And you poured the craft into others. What did teaching reveal to you about performance, and that performing alone never could?
So I think that one of the biggest things that I learned from that experience is that everyone has the potential to perform or to produce or create. Maybe everyone's not the one on stage, but there's still some type of skill set that you can provide. I would always tell students, like maybe the acting isn't for you. Maybe you might work good on the curtain, or maybe you could be on the lights. You can help me build the set, but we're gonna find something for you. I was never one to discourage. I want to make sure, like, where are your skill sets, and how do we amplify that? And how do we also still coach you in other places? I had a young lady. I was so excited for her a couple of weeks ago. This is about a year ago. She actually, her and I ran into each other because she was actually doing a stage reading at a local theater, and I went to audition. Right.
Okay.
Had no idea at the time it was her. Got there, and it was Deshonda Ash. That was her name. Her name was Deshonda Ash. Yeah, I'm gonna put it out there. And I was so excited to see her because she was one of my students.
Oh, wow.
And where other teachers, not other teachers, but maybe her classmates didn't believe in her, or they didn't think that she was going to be able to, because she was not, maybe she wasn't your typical classmate or young lady that, might have been plus size, that's all right. And might have been cute in the face, thick in the waist kind of situation. But the thing was, she had the energy, and I loved her energy and her enthusiasm, and she was willing to learn all aspects of the theater life. She ended up going to college in theater and public speaking and that sort. And so now, she's been doing some different shows locally across the country, other local theaters, community theaters, things like that. So she actually wrote a play, and I went to the audition. And we ended up having a full conversation about just, oh my God, this is my teacher.
Wow.
And we just kind of had a moment and just like, let's just play catch up real quick and just talk about what's been happening. But then from there, we went on with the audition and everything. I made the cast, as part of the stage reading, that part. But it was the fact that I always wanted to support her, encourage her, when her grandmother would come to the shows, like, hey, every year she's getting a little bit better. And, and the next thing, by the time her senior, I think she was like she had the lead role in something. Like, there you go.
Wow. So what can you give some encouragement to some of our younger folk out in the audience that are watching the show tonight? What are some of the things that they can learn as to improving when it comes to doing theater and drama?
So I would say one of the biggest things, especially in the auditioning process, is like, understand that no just means you haven't given the director enough to say yes. You haven't given them enough. I said, think about it from the analogy or the standpoint. Remember when you were growing up as a kid and you'd be like, Mama, can I go to my friend's house? No, because you ain't gave enough information to your mom. I don't know who your friend, where they stay, who they mom and them, what's their phone number,
okay,
time you gonna be back. You ain't gave enough information.
Yo.
Same thing. Sometimes you haven't given them enough to make an informed decision. Now, I'd rather you give me too much and then tell me to pull back. they're not giving me enough, and I don't have, and then I might say no because, well, you should have gave me that the first time. Mm-hmm. Oh, you know what? I love that. Let's try it this way. Now I know you got some flexibility. Oh, I know that you got some range. Oh, you gave me all this. Well, can you give me this? Okay, now can you give me this? As opposed to if all you gave me was this, I don't know where else you can go.
Right. Yeah.
And I would tell people, I would always start every year in my theater class. I would always start, the very first question for every student, like, because I would get students in my class like, well, Mr. Brown, at the time, like, I don't know how to act. Okay. And so I would start off the conversation like, how many of you have ever told a lie before? You just made up some fabrication and you just tried to get it, how many of y'all told a lie? I said, be true. Just tell the truth, shame the devil. How many of y'all told a lie? And they will all raise their hand. I said, okay, keep your hands up. How many of y'all ever got caught lying? Raise your hand even higher. And they would raise their hand a little bit higher. I said, okay then. If you got caught, you're a bad actor. Now, I said, listen, I'm not teaching you how to lie. What I am saying that as in acting, you have to be convincing.
Right.
And you got Denzel Washington or whomever your favorite actor is, they were so convincing. That's why you like them as an actor. So if you got caught lying, you weren't convincing enough.
So Caramoo House Theater is one of the oldest and most celebrated African American theaters in the United States. For someone who may not know its history, help us understand what that stage means, not just to you personally, but to the culture. What does it feel like to stand on that stage?
You talk about people like Ruby Dee, Ossie Davis, Robert Guillaume, Langston Hughes, just to name a few. There were so many more greats that have come through this historic landmark of a place. When we couldn't go to any other theaters in the city, or let alone in the country, Black theater was right there. That was the Renaissance right there. Yes, so to be able to work and to perform on that stage, I mean, there were years, like I think I had 1 year, I think a couple of years, I think I was not working in education for a while. I think I did like 2 years straight of just straight theater. I just went from show to show to show I was just back to back. People were like, "You's a regular?" You would thought I was.
Right.
Whether it was a short play, a musical, a straight standard play. I mean, I even had a chance where my son and I actually got to be in shows together. So that was
wow.
Oh yeah.
What was that like?
Oh, that was amazing. So I think the very first show my son and I did was 12 Angry Jurors, or 12 Angry Men for some. And it was amazing. And so my father at the time, he came to see it. And he was because again, my father didn't really understand theater. I mean, he was around, but he didn't live with me and my mom and my dad, my mother and my grandmother. So it was, but my dad was around, right? And so when he came, he was like, "This is what y'all do." He said, "Oh my God." He said, "Y'all good." He said, "Y'all really good." Because he had no idea. My father really had no idea, what it took.
So what does the audience at Caramoo bring to a performance that other venues do not?
Listen, I love the audience at Caramoo. They will give you the love and all of the energy. They just know, when to laugh, when to, you just feel the energy. I don't know what it is about being on that stage, and you can just feel the energy from the audience because you're giving it to them for the first time, whether it's opening night or it's the fourth week and we've been doing this show, every show has to be like it's the first time, but that audience is right there with us from the beginning to the end. And, and for them to just to ride with us that entire time, and then and sometimes they'll come and they'll meet us after the show in the lobby just to let us know how they appreciate it. Or you'll see family and friends. I remember there was this one lady. I can't remember. I don't remember the show, but I swear she came 4 weeks. She came every weekend. We did the show for 4 weekends. She was there every weekend. She's like, she said every time she comes, she's like, I see something different because she might be focused on me this week, but she might be focused on you the next week and focused on somebody else the following week. And she's every week I come, I'm learning something new. Wow. And I'm seeing something different. It's the same show, but it's like I'm just amazed by what you all do.
So that venue was just magical.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I mean, and to the point where you would think like there would be days, even as a cast, it was like, are we ready for this? Is this gonna happen? And then all of a sudden, like almost like theater magic. Opening night, boom. I remember there was a show I did. I think I literally was still in the script the day before the show. I was like, I don't know, there was like some lines or some songs. I just could not get it right. I was still struggling with the choreography and something, but something magical happened opening night.
Mm-hmm.
And it all just fell into place.
Lights, camera, action. Your theatrical credits are remarkable in the breadth. That's from The Color Purple to La Boheme. Make sure I say that right. I probably said it wrong. 12 Angry Men to Ain't Nothing But the Blues.
Oh, that was one of my favorites. I'm sorry, I got excited about that one.
Those are completely different universes as productions. Walk us through what it demands of you emotionally and technically to move between worlds like that.
It's a journey. So I remember one time I was doing Aladdin on one theater, but then I was doing another show in another theater, and we were in rehearsal simultaneously. And there was a moment like almost like code switching because I had to remember where am I and all that, because you just got so much going on in your mind. And so the point, I think there was one time I was in rehearsal and somebody said something that triggered an Aladdin response as opposed to, let's say, a Color Purple response or something, or whatever it was. But I'm glad it only happened in rehearsal. There was some moment I had to do one show. I remember one show that my son and I did, another show we did, and we did this whole show in blackface. It was a very race-related kind of show and was very, very caricature, very Jim Crow-ish. And him and I were both in white. Well, actually, we were both in whiteface, and we were just having to unpeel those layers of what was happening to us as a community, as African Americans in that time period, and that every night taking off that makeup it felt so traumatic. Having to take off this white face every day, and to try to come back into the real world as opposed to being in this other generation.
Right.
It was hard. It was hard at times. Or I remember there was another show I did, and there was the character I played had been, he was the one being abused by his spouse.
Wow.
And he was ready to give up, throw in the towel, where at the end of the show, he goes in this whole monologue about why he just hates life, hates everything. Told his coworker, go on and shoot me. I don't care. Just take me out. It's probably going to be better than what I've been through. And just to having to find a moment in my own life to tap into, to become this character, to pull the tears. I mean, I remember every night I'm crying my eyes out like I was that guy. I remember posting a picture of me after I had done my makeup with the black eye and the bruises and the cuts, and I had posted the picture on social media. I use it as a way to kind of promote the show, right? But I didn't. All I did was promote the picture, and I kind of quoted a line or two, and everyone thought it was, at that time they thought it was my ex-wife, and they're like, "Where you at? We on the way? How dare you?" It's so real.
Wow.
Even on Facebook, I'm responding as if I'm the character,
Okay. Okay.
and people were so like, "Oh my gosh, what is happening to Anthony?"
So when did you get out of character?
Oh God, it took a while because even with that one, because we did that show for 5 weeks,
Okay.
and it took another 2 or 3 weeks for me to finally unpack and to cleanse my body and my spirit of that character because I was so caught up in it. That was a hard one. Yeah. 'Cause
So
they were mad at her and she had nothing to do with it, but they just didn't know that because it was so real. It was so real.
So how do you get your students today as you're doing theater and drama? How do you get them to get that deep into character to pull everything out of them to put it on the stage and to leave it there? What do you do to get them to that point?
I mean, there's a series of exercises and activities we can do to kind of pull that emotional moment or find that happy place. I'm good for, let's do these exercises where we get to let's go outside and frolic real quick. And let's remember what it means to be a kid and how to pretend. Or if it's one of those serious moments, how do we tap into a memory that you can connect with? Don't lose yourself in it, but how do you just tap into it? Was the first time your mama told you no, or you got in trouble, or maybe you got a spanking or something, or I don't know, just where can you, or maybe a death in the family, and maybe that's a traumatic moment that, what did it make you feel like? Let's unpack that. So it became very therapeutic at times. I'm not the therapist, but where were you then compared to where you are now? And can we learn how to tap into that memory?
Yeah. Ooh. Now what you're saying is some good stuff, but like you don't want to get too far into that because some people, when you open them up, I mean that could be way too much.
Yeah, and so I mean, and the thing is, that's when you have to learn how to, because again, with that character I talked about earlier, right?
Yeah.
The first time I opened up,
Yes.
I lost it.
Oh my God.
On stage.
Uh-huh.
So where the monologue should have been maybe 8 to 10 minutes,
right?
I was 20 something minutes because I could not control it the first time. I couldn't control it.
Right.
I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, even though there was a dry tear in the house, everybody was with me on the whole emotional roller coaster. They were with me, but it didn't have to take that long.
Right.
But once I was able to finally process it, okay, we took you back to the lab, so to speak. So we because that was like opening night. That was like opening night. I mean, because up until then, at that point I was just reciting lines.
Right.
It wasn't until opening night when I actually opened up.
Wow.
And I couldn't control it.
And
it scared me. So the next day we had a quick call rehearsal. So my director kind of helped me process. Let's unpack this. Let's now navigate. How do we he said, I'm not saying what you did was wrong, Anthony. We don't want to be here extra time than we don't have to be.
Right.
So we were able to finally get it within that 8 to 10 minute range of that window, of that scene.
Right.
Keep it moving. So I mean, it takes a moment.
So I want to move over to. I want everybody to know about your work as an author and the great works that you've done. Before we get into it, I want the audience to take a look at this presentation. And remember, you guys, please make sure you look at this, because I want to make sure that you go out and you get Dr. Brown's book, because it's definitely one that you have to have.
What if your greatest breakthrough was on the other side of your story? Inspire Me Moments, Living Out Loud with No Regrets by Anthony Harris Brown isn't just a memoir, it's a mirror, a movement, and a map to becoming who you were meant to be. Through raw honesty, spiritual insight, and empowering reflections, you'll unpack your past, embrace your scars, and rise stronger. This book is for the dreamers, the educators, the men learning to breathe again, the women reclaiming their worth, and the leaders who lead with heart. You'll find real stories of trauma and triumph, tools for healing, and moments that remind you, the cape was never in the closet, it's always been in you. Inspire Me Moments, live out loud with no regrets and all heart. Get your copy today, everywhere books are sold.
So that is, you guys go to www.aharrisbrown.com and purchase the book. First of all, Dr. Brown, tell us what inspired you to write this book.
Wow. I have been wanting to write this book for a long time. Okay, so I started writing it many moons ago, and I would put it down, start writing it again, I'll put it down. And again, understand something, for those who ever wanted to write a book, it's not the traditional where I used to think that, you had to lock yourself into a room and you had to, you're writing all day, or you got piles of paper in the trash can and you just pulling your hair out. I ain't got no hair. You're just trying to figure out what to do. You know what I did to help write this book?
What's that?
I would pick up this phone, turn on the voice recorder, and start talking into it.
Okay.
As I'm walking in the park, as I'm driving in the car, I'm recording. And that became the manuscript.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So how we now, that's unique. And I'm starting to hear that this is what a lot of people are starting to do. But I've never thought to do that when I did mine. But why that way?
So, because I was still debating what I was going to do. Now, mind you, also, again, one of those ram in the bush kind of situations. You didn't prayed about it. You didn't sent you the answer. You ain't realized what the answer was. So, mind you, there's a part of the book. You got to buy the book. Y'all, you got to get the book. So, but in the book, in the book, it's right here. So in the book, I talk about part of the book is a self-help book. It's a motivational book. It's a guide. It's a tool to help, hopefully, for you to be a better person. I sit before you today, and again, sometimes people won't even realize this, but I sit before you today, humbled and blessed that I'm able to sit here virtually and talk with you. There was a moment in my life that I had lost my mind, lost my wife, lost my job, lost my mama, lost my daddy.
Oh, wow.
My home, lost everything.
Oh, wow.
And through that, depression, anxiety, all of the things started happening. I had gotten to a point where I was 450 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I have a tattoo on my arm. Right there it is. It talks about, this represents, it's a set of dumbbells. On real close, it says 450 pounds. And people are like, that's how much you bench press? No, that's how much I used to weigh. This tattoo is a constant reminder of the weight I used